Good morning, PASW clients, staff, and friends joining us. Welcome to Tuesday's class. Hope you enjoyed yesterday's class with the great composer Beethoven, who lost his hearing in his 20s, and by his 40s he was completely deaf, yet still managed to write some of the most beautiful music of all time that we still listen to today. How he did it, I don't know. Will, genius, whatever these things were. We're very grateful. So today we are going to do a little bit of what I talked about we would do last week, a little bit of film history to incorporate that. Because as actors, you guys, we should know about the behind the scenes of the makings of these things, not just acting, but how a movie is constructed and made. And so there are a few examples that I want to talk about today. And if it's okay with you, this will be part one, and we'll do part two tomorrow because some of the film clips, there's 5 movies we're going to be talking about. And I just want to show you the scenes. And what we're going to be talking about today is the single master shot. Okay, so a master shot is a long shot that captures all or most of the action in a scene. And the reason why I need to show the complete scenes is because a master shot is something where you don't cut, okay? So, like, look at this right now. Did you see that cut? So I could have filmed that beginning, gone down and had lunch, come upstairs, and continued right now. Now I didn't, but I could have in that cut. And then but it looks like, oh, well, he's still been talking, but there was a cut. So we're going to be talking about master shots where there's no cut. Now you could say, well, what's the point? I think the master shot is a beautiful, inventive, very hard to do. We did some in the second movie, Show Business of Mine, and we tried because there's a lot of beauty and elegance to this master shot, and we're gonna look at some examples, and but let's just make sure we know the master shot. So it's the entire recording of a dramatized scene. So you know how you have close-ups, there's different camera angles, there's insert shots. Well, master shots are interesting to me because they require so much framing, lighting, directing. Now you could say, well, the director is lazy because he's just there's no cutting, but really, in fact, the director's doing something the director should do, which is blocking. He's making sure all of the parts in the choreography is happening beautifully, and if one thing if there's a mistake somewhere, they got to do it all over again. That's the bad thing. If somebody blows a line, flubs a line at minute 8 of the whole shot, you got to start all over again. The good thing is if it's perfect and nobody flubs it, you have 6, 7, 8 pages of dialogue, and you don't have to edit it in the editing room. Now, I don't know, somehow we got into this thing where you need tremendous coverage, and I think it's the anxiety of filmmakers because they're unsure about how the movie's going to be in their mind, so they get coverage, right? They get as much stuff, so it's a nightmare for editors because there's matching involved. So let's say there's a great scene of here in this scene, and then we cut to the other guy, and then we cut back, but the other guy's not holding the drink in the same place, or the drink is, it's a mess having to match all that stuff. Now, I'm not saying that coverage is not necessary, of course it is, but it doesn't always have to be done. Sometimes it's complete, it takes way longer to do for the shooting day, it costs much more money. Now, but the beauty of the master shot is that it's harder to do, but I think it's more satisfying and very cool. And most viewers probably, or audience viewers, won't notice it, how much work goes into just planning the shot. And so with a director is really directing everything that's happening. So it's like a play. There's no cuts or anything like that. And if it works, then it's seamless. Now, we're going to look at some criteria of what will, okay, so great, it's a master shot, so who cares, big deal, they didn't cut. But so why is it important? It's important because, and our criteria is going to be it can set the stage, the action of the entire the examples we're going to see, a few of them are the very first shots of the movie, so it can set the the action involved. Sorry, I forgot the word. So it can give you all the action of what the movie's going to be like in a few minutes, and we'll see with that. It can introduce all the characters. It can introduce it. Now it doesn't have to, but it can give you the whole idea of it, the action of it. It can also bring you into the environment of, wow, it's like a POV. I'm with these people in this room, or I'm walking with these people. So it can be environmental, it can be ambiance, it can completely make you feel like you're in the moment and you're not just watching close-ups back and forth with all these cuts. And then we'll see with Woody Allen how he uses the master shot in not a grand way or an action way, but in a personal way, in a way that's more natural. And we'll see with Stardust Memories how he does that in a very simple shot that really says a lot without even moving the camera. So we're gonna have too much fun today, I think. I'm very excited about showing you some of these clips and talking about them. So that's what the master shot is, and there's thousands of examples, but I just wanted to pick 5 that we can look at and talk about. Now, historically, before we start, when the early 20th century of film, everything was a master shot because editing techniques weren't really utilized. They weren't really, they didn't, I mean, they knew how to cut, but it wasn't a stylized thing. So really, historically, everything was a master shot. It was, it's like they would do a play on stage, and then when cameras got involved, they would just film that and keep the camera there. Now, and that's why it would look kind of stagey. So we're not talking about stagey. We're talking about master shots where either the camera doesn't move at all, or the camera moves with the action and floats all around like a voyeur or something like that. So, but when the 50s, 60s, 70s, they started really doing a lot of cuts, and we'll talk about jump cuts and Godard and the French New Wave maybe next week. So let's start with maybe the most famous, greatest filmmaker of all time, Orson Welles. Orson Welles, obviously famous for Citizen Kane, which we could, spend years talking about. But we're going to go to his film Touch of Evil, 1958. Now, Touch of Evil, this is the very beginning opening scene of the movie. And this, I think, for our criteria, falls into the action category. This creates, and the ambiance and the environment too, but we're going to see a bomb ticking, and it took all day to get this shot. This is filmed right in Venice. You'll probably recognize some of the columns, but in Venice Beach. So and it's supposed to be on the Tijuana Mexican border. And you'll see Orson Welles is using this crane shot. You'll see that there's not one cut, but he's following all these actions, these people running through. Every single thing you see and hear is planned to a T. Every single thing. But it looks like he's just filming life, like it's supposed to look natural. But every single thing has a purpose. So that's what a director really should be doing. So although we don't notice it, and that's what's so brilliant about it. Okay, so let's watch the opening scene of Orson Welles' Touch of Evil.
folks American citizens?
I am, yes.
Where were you born, miss?
Mrs.
What?
Philadelphia.
The name is Vargas.
Hey, Jim. You see who's here?
Sure, Mr. Vargas. Hot on the trail of another dope ring?
Out on the trail of a chocolate soda for my wife.
Your wife?
Barely your bride, officer.
Hey, can I get through?
A lot of talk up here about how you cracked that Grandy business.
Yeah, we hear you caught the big boss.
Only one of them. The Grandys are a big family. Good night.
No purchases, Mr. Lineker?
Hey, I got this.
You're American citizen, miss?
No, I got this ticking noise.
Yeah, okay.
No, really, this
Good night.
ticking noise in my head.
Mike, do you realize this is the very first time we've been together in my country?
Do you realize I haven't kissed you in over an hour?
So that scene really sets the tense mood for the film, because it's a film noir and the film is very tense and cool. But that was, I mean, that shot really was maybe the first hugely famous, incredible sequence that people still reference all the time. It's truly remarkable how, and this is shot using a crane, and everything is just, it works perfectly. And so Touch of Evil, 1958, Orson Welles again doing something revolutionary. With Citizen Kane, he did deep focus, right? Nobody had ever done that. Here he's doing these master shots with using a camera crane. It would be so much easier to just film the car, film the people, it would take a lot of time and coverage and matching like we talked about. But instead, he's doing it all in one motion and showing us the action of this bomb ticking and following the car. The car is the person that is the prop that we're supposed to be looking at. So brilliant Orson Welles shot. The next film we're going to look at is by Martin Scorsese, and so we're going to go to 1990, and that's with his film Goodfellas. This is a very famous shot. This is a Steadicam. So Steadicam, instead of a crane, Steadicam is it's like a guy wearing a vest with the camera. So he's walking, and as he's walking, he's filming. Now, if we were to put a camera on me right now and I was walking, the camera would look like that. So Steadicam was a brilliant invention because it allowed the cinematographer or the camera operator to walk without in a smooth fashion. And with that, throughout the years and decades, the Steadicam became more refined. Now with our movie Show Business, we use the Ronin, that's what it's called, and the Ronin was something similar, where our cinematographer Danny Belinkie kind of held it and would float around the room, and it would be very steady, even though he's walking, So that's what a Steadicam is. So this is a famous Steadicam shot in Goodfellas, and this is I think in the ambiance. This brings us into the action of the Copacabana, one of the most famous nightclubs ever, and this is very cool how we follow this. This puts us right into the moment of all the action of the Copacabana. So this took all day, because you have to. There's so much timing involved. You have to time the entrances. You have to time the exits, and you have to hit all these marks. The actors, the camera operators, obviously. Everybody has to be right on their mark. So it's kind of like. Not a game, but it's got to look natural too. You don't want to just say, okay, now I'm going here. It's got to look seamless. So let's take a look at the brilliant Steadicam shot in Goodfellas.
Thank you, sir. All right, see you later. Thanks.
What are you doing? You're leaving your car?
Watch, it's the corner. It's easier than leaving it at a garage and waiting. It's a lot quicker that way. You know what I mean? Huh? I like going this way, better than waiting in line. How you doing, man? Good, good. Here you go. Gino. All right, good, good. Hey. Every time I come here, every time you do, don't you work?
Nice to see you.
Yeah, good seeing you.
Hi, how are you? Anthony, right in the front.
Great, thanks.
Anything you need, Henry, just let me know.
Hey, I'm the weekend.
I know you're waiting for me. I'll be right with you.
I have enough to drink. Good. How you doing?
Gave them $20 each.
All right.
Henry, this is what Mr. Tony over there.
Where?
Over there.
Oh, thanks so much, Tony. Thank you. Salute.
What do you do?
What?
What do you do?
I'm in construction.
You don't feel like you're in construction.
No, I'm a union delegate.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, the Copacabana is proud to present the king of the one-liners, Henny Youngman.
How are you all? I'm glad to be here. Take my wife, please. I take my wife everywhere, but she finds her way home.
So it makes you feel a part of the club scene, right? That you're a part. You're a part of this atmosphere, this ambiance of the inside the Copacabana. Again, it looks seamless. It looks just like, okay, we'll just follow these people walking, but there's stairs, there's all these things involved where it floats, and it takes so much. And I keep reiterating it because I experience that. It's so much balance and choreography and all these wonderful things behind the scenes that make it work. And when it works, it's beautiful. So we're gonna do part 2 tomorrow, and we're gonna look at The Player. We're gonna look at a scene from Boogie Nights, and we are going to end with a scene from Stardust Memories, the Woody Allen movie. So tomorrow we'll do Master Shots part 2. So hope you enjoyed this. Have a great rest of the day. I will see you Wednesday tomorrow. Okay, bye.